The formal city is built on a code of strict rules and regulations. But here in the Buffalo City Metro, in the Phola Park community, sticking to those rules would have meant displacing families and households. Instead, an NGO, the municipality, and the community came together to change those rules and prioritize access and dignity over bureaucracy. And it demonstrates how the new urban agenda, an ambitious global agreement for sustainable urban development, can also be achieved by local champions in partnership with municipalities. Let's see how they made it work. We've come to Phola Park to meet Ronald Eglin and Umduduzi Untungana from the NGO Afesis. For more than a decade, they have worked alongside residents and the city to help shape and support this upgrading process. This had been like this for a long time. Afesis has been involved for over 30 years in the Buffalo City metro area.
Yeah.
Why the delay in terms of taking action?
Well, we first got involved in this particular Phola Park informal settlement in 2013. And at that stage, government put out a contract to upgrade informal settlements across the metro. And we, together with some other consultants, were awarded a NASP, National Upgrading Support Program, to develop upgrading plans for these 32 informal settlements. And Phola Park was one of those in settlements. This community in particular came to us after we had done those initial plans and said, why has nothing been happening? So we worked with them to go to the municipality and see what can be done.
Cities, as we know it, in particular the formal city, there are these zoning rules that dictates height and width and distance from street, and then there's rules around services and where electricity can be installed. When it comes to informal settlement upgrading, does that rule book still work?
Well, the short answer is no. Classic instance is road widths. There was lots of debate with the roads department of the municipality who saw this as like start of formalizing the area, and which meant you've got to have wider roads according to the rules. But we realized that you can't do that because it means you've got to move so many people.
Yeah.
So in the end, the Human Settlements Department took it upon themselves to see this as a pilot project to show the roads department and others that you don't have to stick to these large road widths.
So from our sense, our involvement as Afesis is the town planning aspect of it. So really the rigorous planning aspect, but also we played a huge part in the social facilitation. So that's being the center and the mediation, the negotiators, the advocates for the community, standing on the side of the community that wants this project to happen, but also being able to relay the technical side to the municipality and speaking to the technical service departments like your electricity, like your human settlements. So being able to be the bridge between the community, the political side as well with your ward councillors, and the community themselves.
What is your personal definition of reblocking?
From my sense, it's really a community-led process of reorganizing the settlement into a layout where it opens access for wider paths and wider streets for other services such as electricity, water and sanitation, and just improving the lives of people in that way.
We speak to Phola Park resident Oliswa Makubela about how even the first phase of the reblocking project, the construction of the new roads, is already making a difference in daily life.
apha kule ndawo besihlala edakeni noba sehlala zingxaki sinazo mhlawumbe sifuna iambulance okanye imoto besixakeka singabantu abakhulu noba kuye kwathi kwawa umuntu omdala mhlawumbi wasweleka besingakwazi ukungena inazi iphala apha neambulance singakwazi ukungena naxa wenzakele umntana apha singakwazi ubiza ambulance bakhonda ongena. Okwesibini istishes ezilapha beziphuphumala zisiafecta silunyana zingcongconi apha sinampilo irayithi singekho mpilweni irayithi. Ubusendaweni ubusetawuni yaxa imoto ekwazi ungena egrosari yakho ufuna umetheni ucela abantu abakuphathisa ngoku uthi noba uyahamba unaxhala besisinda siigambhuts singaba singana sinxiba iigambhuts sinamadwa sinamathambo funa sirhuqa igambhuts.
If there are other communities that are worried about doing roads or reblocking, what would you say to them?
Ndingakhuthaza bafuna babe nomonde babe nonyamezela kude kube lithula bakugqibela banyamezele, they have patience bakwenza uba bakwazi unyamezela babe nomonde kwenza into yoba into yabo izoqhubeka kakuhle babe noxolo bekho i-peace part kwabo.
The reblocking process requires careful planning. It brings together the community's knowledge and priorities with the technical standards and processes of the city and its departments.
Firstly, the community also played a role in designing the plan as well. They took part and understood that certain roads and certain pathways could really allow for better access for the people and the community. So when it came to designing the road, electricity really had their new standard operating procedures, which say that in order to electrify informal settlements, they need a reblocking process which has straight roads and straight pathways. So we tried to limit the number of curves in the settlement. The process of planning, we looked at what is the least number of people that are going to be affected with moving or demolishing and rebuilding in another area, because there is limited space for moving people within the site. So they contributed tremendously in terms of being able to identify certain houses that are going to be affected. And also going forward in the planning process, they were already thinking far ahead. These 5 people will have to move. Where will they have to move to?
When we go around, you will see that there are not many cars parked in the driveways and things like that, because people here don't have cars. There's a taxi stop within 100 meters where they have to walk, and that's their mobility.
So you convinced the roads department to build walkable routes in the community and call them roads?
Yes. Well, we still have to call them paths.
Community participation was essential throughout the project, from the early design discussions to the construction itself. We meet construction manager Jason Katz to see how residents played a direct role in building the new roads.
All our labour is local. We would source our labour through the CLO and the PSC. They would have a list of available workers, and they would have their meeting. If I said, look, I would need 10 guys by next week Monday, they would have a meeting with the community, see who's available, and by Monday I would have 10 guys. So that has never been an issue. So we've got some of the guys that are actually doing the finishing on the road.
Now that this first project is coming to its end, the idea is to roll out some more reblocking projects. Many of the informal settlements in Buffalo City and across the country, in effect, would be able to learn from this experience and start to do reblocking as the first step.
When it comes to reblocking specifically, I think the understanding still is not there yet in terms of everyone. But now that we've done this pilot project, we do hope that it will resonate across other metros as well.
Olisa, how do you feel about Phola Park in your community today?
I'm so happy, too much happy. And our children's playing right now. We are not so worried. Where is my children? Where is my children? You know, it's on the street now, playing right. And they're so healthy, my children. They want to go to school, they go to school, no worried thing.
Projects like this rarely begin with a blueprint. In Phola Park, they began with the residents determined to improve their community and demand action. These roads are only the beginning. They open the way to new possibilities, and they show that when residents, civil society, and government work together, complex challenges can be solved, one road at a time.
Thank you, Tutuzi. Thank you, Baba. And these people working hard, too hard.
Do you watch them when they work?
No, thank you, Baba. The contracts, right? Siyabulela kuba abantu no contract siyabulela ngamandla basebenzise nathi baphathisana nye nathi yonke yabe ya right akho isikhalazana nangayo khange sixabane khange sithini iseluxolo siyabakhula ngoxolo siyabulela kuno contract siyabulela ubutata abantu wephupha elihle asithathini asikhuphe engqingweni enkosi.